who we saw was very eager in the Arkansas Derby and really agitated, has been very good in the post parade today without those blinkers, Mike.
All right, just loaded there, Donna. They double load, 2 at a time each side to get the 19 horses in, including the 3 trained by Bob Baffert, who can tie the all-time record. He can win a 6th Kentucky Derby. Gary and Mary West, first time at the Derby since 2005. They've been in the sport for 40 years. Can they get their first Kentucky Derby here? 2 shots at it with Game Winner and Maximum Security. So the horses load, all the work, all the talk, all the handicapping is done. It's time for history. With the call of the 2019 Kentucky Derby, here's Larry Collins.
Thank you, Mike. Spinoff has moved into the starting gate. There's just 2 left to load. Country House is coming up to line now under Flavien Prat. And the last one to load will be the horse that's never won a race, Bodie Express. And he will come up to the last spot in line. They're all in line. We're ready for the start. They're off in the Kentucky Derby. Maximum Security and Vekoma had good beginnings, and they go out to the early lead, and Long Range Toddy's close too, and there goes Bodie Express on the outside into the early mix. So they will lead the way early on. And then it's War of Will running in 5th on the inside. Spinoff is 6th. Improbable is 7th position in between horses. Then Cutting Humor to the outside, followed by Country House. Then Code of Honor, Tax, and Pluska Parfait. By my standards is alongside, about 10 lengths off the lead. Gray Magician rides the rail into that turn, and then comes Roadster alongside of the Gray Tacitus. Break of another 2 lengths more, back to Win, Win, Win. Game Winner is in behind him. He's second last, leading Japan's Master Fencer to the backstretch. So on to the backstretch they go, and through this first quarter mile in a sensible 46.62 seconds. Maximum Security leads the way by 3/4 of a length. Long Range Toddy pressing the pace under John Ford on the outside, second. War of Will is down toward the inside under a snug hold in 3rd. Then it's Bodie Express 4th. Improbable behind horses in 5th. Vekoma 6th on the outside. And then it's Code of Honor who rides the rail into the far turn. Country House is alongside, and then Spinoff. Pluska Parfait is next, and on the inside comes Tax. Game Winner is wide on the turn, beginning to pick up his stride near the back of the pack. But Maximum Security continues to lead the way. Midway on the far turn, he's a length and a half in front. War of Will is second. Long Range Toddy 3rd, and 4 wide and moving up is Country House's Bodie Express plummets through the field. And here comes Code of Honor, and he bursts through an opening on the inside of Maximum Security, and they're into the stretch. Country House on the outside. Code of Honor down toward the rail. Maximum Security keeps on fighting. War of Will is there too as they come to the final furlong. It is Country House on the outside. Maximum Security so dead game. He keeps battling on. Maximum Security. Country House 1-2 down to the line. Maximum Security wins the Kentucky Derby. And then it was Country House second, followed by Code of Honor 3rd, and then behind them Master Fencer, who was closing late inside of Tacitus. It's Maximum Security. He's never lost a race, and he wins it under Luis Saez.
He's 5 for 5. And for Gary and Mary West, so long in the sport, a decade plus away from the Derby, it is the highlight of their racing career as they now own a Kentucky Derby winner in Maximum Security.
Hey, he ain't even got a speck of dirt on you nowhere, son. Wire to wire. Good job.
Thank you, Daddy.
Congratulations, Luis.
You did it, man.
I know you did it. Good job. Huh?
Luis Saez, his 7th Kentucky Derby. His best Derby finish was 7th. And on number 7 here today, 777 pays off with a Kentucky Derby victory. And the 26-year-old Panamanian who gets the plaudits from his peers.
Well, you know, you gotta be able to, hey, I'm just joking. You gotta have fun, huh? Yeah. You having fun, huh?
Yeah.
Huh? I jacking with you the other day. You didn't know what to think, did you?
What a moment for him. Country House, a 65-1 shot.
You didn't know what to think.
Put a little pressure on him down the stretch. Code of Honor finishing 3rd. So the Baffert horses, a lot of the favorites, all could not mount a charge as Maximum Security gets trainer Jason Service the victory as well. And Donna's with Luis Saez now.
Luis, you're the number 7. It was your 7th time to win the Kentucky Derby, and for you, the 7th time is a charm. Talk to me about the performance this horse just put on. He looks like such a fighter.
Yeah, he's a hard fighter. He's a real, real runner. He was traveling pretty nice. Always, when we just came over there to the stretch, he started like getting a little bit scared for this. A lot of people screaming.
So the crowd noise seemed to bother him or distract him a bit?
A little bit, yeah, because he's a baby, he just learning. But then I grab and I control him and I keep fighting because I know he's a real fighter, and this guy, he did it.
Did it help when the other horses ran up there near him? Did it make him realize the race is still on?
Yeah, it's pretty long.
Luis, you grew up in Panama. You rode horses as a small child for transportation, not even just for fun. You listened to horse racing on the radio from the United States. How long have you dreamed about a moment like this?
Oh my God, this was my dream. My dream come true. That's very exciting, I just feel so glad. Jason, all the owners, give me this opportunity, and we rode this champion here. He's a runner.
Well done, well ridden.
Thank you so much. Thanks, God.
Let's go to Nick.
Donna, I'm with Jason Service. Jason, you've emulated your brother John by training the winner of a Kentucky Derby, and you are trying desperately to contact members of your family on the phone. Just tell me why.
I mean, I wanted to call my dad, and it's going to be real emotional for me. It's going to be hard, which I know as a newscaster you don't want to hear, but I'm trying to hold it together.
Of course we want to hear it, because you've just won the most important 2 minutes in sport, the Kentucky Derby. You've been in this game a long time. Just try and put it into words for us.
I mean, the fact that my brother won it, it's hard to do. And when he just grabbed me, I mean, I'm like ready to lose it, really. So it's just real emotional for me.
You're keeping a lid on it at the moment. Your horse was incredibly brave today. He wore his heart on his sleeve. Were you worried at any point?
Yeah, I saw 22. I was concerned. And 46, at one point...
A sign that you thought they were going too fast?
Too quick. But when he threw his ears up, I thought, well, he was getting a breather and maybe we'd be okay. And I think he did duck out a little, maybe the crowd. And when he set him down, he was impressive. He was very impressive.
Jason, congratulations.
Thank you.
Mike?
Jason Service's younger brother John trained the 2004 Derby and Preakness winner Smarty Jones. There is an objection that has been posted on the board, so it is unofficial for the moment. There you see the unofficial order of finish.
He did come out at the top of the stretch, nearing the top of the stretch. He impeded the one horse War of Will.
Maximum Security moved out of lane before he was clear, forcing the rider of number 1 War of Will to chuck up a little bit.
Now, at that point, the 20, the runner-up Country House, whose claim foul was in the outside yellow cap. It actually happened before that.
It did not affect number 20. He didn't have to steady because of this, but the one horse did have to steady. War of Will.
Coming to the top of the stretch, maybe about a 16th of a mile before the quarter pole, is where Maximum Security ducked out. He did bother War of Will, definitely, but it's hard to see that he did anything to Country House.
So here we see him as we're going into the far turn. This is the 3 furlong pole, the green and white pole as they're passing right now. War of Will, the horse with a white stripe on his face, directly in behind the horse with the pink silks. Maximum secured. Now he has a lane to run, so his jockey is taking him outside of Luis Saez and Maximum Security. Right there is where number 7 Maximum Security came out a lane or two, forcing War of Will to steady. It's on a spot of the racetrack where it's very hard to determine exactly how much he impeded him, but you could tell by the reaction of Tyler Gaffleone on War of Will that there was definitely some contact.
So when you get a situation like this, Barbara Borden, who we heard from earlier, chief steward for the state of Kentucky, they have to make a decision. Did they see anything that clearly impeded the horse and is something that's worth impacting the result of the race, taking down the result of the race, where it happened and what you saw? What would you guys say as they talk to the jockeys who then get on the phone with the chief steward upstairs?
Well, since it is Country House and Flavian Prat that have claimed foul against Maximum Security, he was the one that was outside of War of Will, so it was difficult for us. We haven't seen an angle yet that would indicate that he was bothered sufficiently to change the order of finish. Do you agree?
In my opinion, only War of Will was impeded during that little scrum at the top of the stretch.
And two things going on there. Some of the jockeys are waiting to weigh in. They have to do after each race. And then the two jockeys involved in question here are the ones in conversation on the phone with the stewards.
Long Range Toddy also got bothered pretty significantly here. He was just to the outside of War of Will. You see the white face, white silks behind. But
he was stopping already.
Right.
It's not going to affect how he ended up in the race.
And to be clear, the objection is only with 7 and 20.
Correct.
Maximum Security, the winner, and Country House, who finished second. That's why those two jockeys are on the phone.
Now there it got just a touch tight, but that's nothing.
It's very hard for me to say that number 20 was impeded. I just don't think he was.
And keep in mind, there's never been a disqualification from first in the history of the Kentucky Derby.
Lafitte Pincott, the third.
Yeah, Mike, Flavien Prat, second place finish with Country House. Flavien, what happened out there?
Well, we had a pretty good trip, and then when I came around the turn, I was outside, and then all of a sudden there was a weird move from the inside to the outside, and kind of bumped me, getting me sideways. But I mean, after that, down the lane, I had a fair run, but it just wanted, the steward to look at it. And
do you think that contact cost you a win in the Kentucky Derby?
Well, I mean. Like I say, when I was coming around the turn, they kind of pushed me sideways. But after that, like I said, in the stretch, I had a fair run.
The objection that's taking place right now, they're still looking at it. Are you confident they might make a change and you could wind up the Kentucky Derby winning jockey with Country House?
Well, that'd be great.
We will await a decision, guys.
All right, thank you. Country House, known as a closer, did just that in this race. Objections happen all the time in racing. There are lots of conversations that go on. The stewards have a difficult job, and we continue to go back as they continue to watch the different angles of this race.
I think the bigger question, Mike, I believe that Maximum Security stepped out of lane and impeded number 1, War of Will. The question is, did it cost War of Will a placing? Would he have finished better had this not happened?
And there's the action.
And that's
right
in the
there.
discretion of the stewards.
And sometimes riders, to be quite honest with you, take a shot. Right?
Yeah, sure.
You're second in the Kentucky Derby. Why not take a shot? I didn't see this horse get turned sideways at all.
No, he wasn't going to win.
Nick Luck.
Yeah, I'm with Jason Service and Luis Saez watching this now. Hugely anxious moments. Luis, first of all, just tell me what you said to the stewards.
Well, the horse, he got scary when he started releasing the crown. The crown was screaming, and he's a baby, He came out a little bit, and I grabbed him right away. I stayed straight,
Did you have any concerns or worries when you crossed the line? Did you think I could be in trouble here?
No, not really. I never put nobody in danger.
Jason, we spoke immediately after the race. You didn't seem to have any concerns then. Now you've watched the replay. What do you think?
I think Louis' right. He straightened him up right away, and I don't think it affected the outcome of the race.
If this was any other race on any other day, would you be as confident of keeping it?
That's a tough one. I don't know.
Difficult moments for you.
Yeah. This is really hard now. Well, let's pray to the racing gods.
Luis, do you have anything else to say?
No. Thank you.
Gentlemen, we'll see what happens.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the moment.
Nick, thank you. Luis did tell Donna that immediately. There's Flavien Prat, the jockey on Country House 20, as the objections being looked at. Do not factor in how long it's taking that this may be a decision that flips. They take all the time because this is the most important decision they'll make beyond this year for a while.
The best horse won.
Oh, I clearly the best horse won. The pink horse in the pink, Maximum Security, steps out right there. You can see it. I don't know if you can see it, but he moves out of path.
Yes.
The other jockey in the pink silks, Tyler Gaffney on number 1, had to steady his horse, pull him back slightly to keep from getting full contact, and that's what the claim of foul is about.
As did John Court on Long Range Toddy, but not Flavien Prat on Country House.
Eddie Olczyk.
Yeah, Mike, just looking at this replay, the one look there, and I'd be interested because Jerry has done this. The winning horse is in the 2 path and then kind of veers out into the 4 or 5 path from the one look that I'm seeing in the paddock. What's your take on the horse getting off of the rail there, Jerry?
He definitely did. As jockey Luis Saez said, he got scared from the crowd, but he definitely went from the 2 path to at least the 3 and maybe the 4 path,
Oh,
while
yeah, big
War
time.
of Will was still in it,
Right.
and not clear of him.
Yeah,
Now,
that's what I saw, Jerry, is that he was not, maybe in a 2 path, and he goes all the way over into the 4 or 5 path, and that just pushed everybody else out to the center of the track.
That is totally correct. Long Range Toddy in between War of Will and Country House also got impeded, but not Country House.
If War of Will had finished second and had claimed foul,
might be a different story.
A legitimate beef at that point.
Again, as Randy said before, never had the winner taken off the top line, disqualified, and the inquiry changing the result of the finish in the history of the Kentucky Derby. Kentucky Derby 145. Still in question is Barbara Borden, the chief steward. State of Kentucky continues to look at the racetrack angles and any angles that we have available as well, so she can make the decision here, Jerry.
Mike, it would be very interesting to see what Tyler Gaffleone says, the writer of #1 War of Will, and I'm positive the stewards will have talked to him.
What decision would you guys make based on what you saw there?
I think he was the best horse in the race, and I would do nothing.
So you'd leave the 7 as the winner?
I think he was the best horse.
So would I. So would I. You know, way back in the day, 1968, Dancer's Image was disqualified way after the fact due to a medication violation.
Right.
But as far as infractions on the racetrack, inquiries, objections, no disqualifications from first place ever.
We often see, and we do every year and did at this Derby, the contact as the horses compress together when they start. And there, Jerry, you talked about coming around the turn with not a lot of pace or speed. The horses were pretty tightly bunched as the movement happened. And then you heard the comments of Saez reacting to the crowd of 150,000. The horse reacts, and he tried to do the best he could. Can you imagine what is going through his mind right now?
And he knew it when it happened because he straightened him back up again. He pulled him back closer to the path he originally started on. And it's very possible that he spooked from the crowd at that point. He's on the lead, he's turning for home, and here's the roar of that crowd. It's quite possible.
The stewards have all sorts of angles at their disposal. That took place at a spot on the racetrack, though, where the camera angles are a little tricky. But it was pretty clear to see, though, that Country House wasn't that impeded.
And it's a great point. It's tricky because it's never going to give you a straight down the line look because it's a turn, as opposed to if it happens here in the stretch when a horse sometimes will come out a path or two. It's just like football, just like every other sport with replay. Sometimes you don't have the definitive look, but they can talk to, as you saw, talk to the jockeys on the phone about what happened and factor that into the decision. Kenny Rice is down there.
All right, thank you, Mike Tirico. Bill Mott looking for his first Kentucky Derby victory coming in here. Bill, what are you thinking right now?
Well, I'm just waiting to see what the stewards decide. I mean, there was definitely a foul in the race. My horses didn't get bothered terribly. Country House got bumped just a little bit, but there were a couple jocks that almost went down in there. And I mean, if it was, I'll say this, if it was a maiden claimer on a weekday, the winner would come down. And it's not supposed to matter, Kentucky Derby or whatever it is. I mean, there's a couple of riders that nearly clipped heels and went down in there.
So by that, you think Country House should be declared the winner?
Well, I'm going to wait and let the stewards decide that. I mean, I know what I'd like to happen, but I have no control over it at this point. I'm just a bystander as you are right now.
The magnitude of this race, do you think that will factor in, Bill?
I know, believe me, there's over 100,000 people here, and I know they don't want to have to make that call. I mean, the stewards are probably wishing that they didn't have to make that decision right now, but it's their duty to do the right thing. I hope they do.
Any idea, as long as this is taking, if it's going to be good for you, or we're going to still have the winner maximum security?
I don't know. It's up to the stewards. I'm proud of my horses. I was second and fourth. They ran well. Country House ran a great race. It's up to the stewards now.
Do you think that you should be the winner of this race, though, with Country House?
I think the stewards will take a good look at it and they'll decide. I'm not going to make their decision for them. I think they're fair, and I think they want to be fair. But there's a couple horses that nearly went down in the race, and I think those horses, it eliminated all chance for them.
All right, we'll continue to wait. Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
Kenny, thank you.
Mike.
And Kenny hit on the interesting comments from the Hall of Famer, very well-respected trainer Bill Mott, who trained the two-time Horse of the Year cigar. just talking about if this was another race, he feels it would be different. It's that whole conversation. Is it a foul in the first quarter? Is it a foul at the end of the game? In every sport, and here in horse racing, with 150,000 waiting, they're all waiting as the stewards watch these angles. They keep going back on these.
Look to the right. Okay, that's the definitive angle. As they straighten away, you will see Maximum Security come out upper right, right there.
Yes.
And Bill Mott's correct. Tyler Gaffleon on War of Will came perilously close to clipping heels with Maximum Security. That could have been an absolute disaster at that point.
We're not trying to confuse you. This is almost like looking under the hood for the football refs. This is exactly what the stewards are looking at. These 5 angles simultaneously and synchronized so they can see from every angle as they make their decision where the horse was, how the path changed, and how it impacted the others, Jerry.
Do not watch the head. Do not watch the jockey. Watch the feet of Maximum Security. Watch where he's running on the surface, and you can tell he shifts lanes out.
Randy mentioned Dancer's Image in 1968. Finished first, but after the race, Dancer's Image tested positive for a prohibited anti-inflammatory medication. Thus, the result was changed to the top. That's what we were referring to, that this has never happened with a horse because of what happened on the track in the Kentucky Derby.
So watch where he's running. Watch those little grooves in the track. Where he starts, it's inside of a lane of pooled water. He ends up on the outside of that lane of pooled water.
Now, if the stewards look at this and they say, okay, he interfered with War of Will badly, he cost War of Will a placing in the race, in that manner they can justify a disqualification. But if they look at the 20 Country House and say, did it impede Country House enough for a disqualification? Absolutely not.
Guys, I know they say don't look at the amount of time we take to factor in what's going to be the ultimate decision here, but I'm calling no on that. They know this is the biggest decision that you've ever seen with an inquiry in the Kentucky Derby. This is the biggest race of the year. It ended about 14 minutes ago. And this is sports in 2019 in every sport. We're waiting on replay for a decision, but here you got to talk to the jockeys involved and get almost their testimony, their input, as the judges, or in this case, the stewards, make the decision who won the biggest race of the year.
We need to hear from the jockey that was impeded the most, and that's Tyler Gaffleon on War of Will.
Now, there are 3 stewards, Mike.
Yes.
And they vote, right? There can be a split decision. 2 stewards can decide no disqualification. The other steward can vote disqualification. That's why there's an odd number. There are 3 stewards up there.
It's really one of the surreal, amazing scenes in sports. There are 150,000 people back here in the grandstands and on the grounds, and everybody is staring at the video screens, the big monitor in the backstretch, the trainers who had the emotional reaction that you saw earlier, that they've waited their whole lives. I won the Kentucky Derby. Oh, well, wait a minute. Maybe not. And it remains unofficial and has for the last 15 minutes as the jockeys and all the human connections just wonder.
You think there's some prayers going on here?
Oh my gosh, and that's usually for the start of the race.
It comes down to, do they go by the letter of the law?
Exactly.
Or do they take into account the best horse won?
Exactly. That's what it is.
And that matters.
That matters.
And still they wait and watch. A steward's inquiry and a jockey's claim of foul resulted in a disqualification in 1984, but it was Gate Dancer who finished 4th, and interference was called at that time and judged. A result, Gate Dancer was moved down to 5th, and Folly Time, the horse at that point, was moved up to 4th. So that's the last time it's happened in terms of a general disqualification in the Derby, but not with the win, not with horse racing history. And Maximum Security, who went off as the number 2 choice at 9-2. In the meantime, the long shot, 65-1 Country House, would be one of the biggest long shots in Derby history to win, sitting there. And if the result is reversed on this objection, you could have history going the other way here in this Derby. Well, we've gone to the logo, so I think some sort of a decision has been made. And we'll find out, and then it will be announced to the crowd here at Churchill Downs. Many still holding their tickets and holding their breath to find out if Maximum Security, Jason Service and Luis Saez, or Flavian Pratt with Bill Mott and Country House won this Kentucky Derby.
War of Will, after the interference, moved up again to the outside of Maximum Security, and then he flattened out badly in the last 16th of a mile. He didn't finish in the top 5. I think he finished about 8th or 9th. We don't have the official order of finish.
I've got him at 8th.
Okay, 8th place, but
and a lot's going to depend on if Tyler Gaffalione's jockey said, listen, I was there, but I was dying. I was going to finish where I finished.
I've got Improbable as 5th, by the way, the favorite. We're waiting to see if Maximum Security, who crossed the line first for Gary and Mary West, has been disqualified. It will Country House at 65 to 1 be the winner of the Kentucky Derby.
They disqualified him.
They did. So for the first time in the history of the Kentucky Derby, the horse that crossed the line first has been disqualified. After the objection, Country House wins the Kentucky Derby with Flavien Prat at 65 to 1.
You think he should have stayed up? I don't know.
One of the longest shots in history to win the Derby. After one of the longest waits ever after the Derby. And for Pratt, it's his first Derby. The disappointment for Luis Saez, denied that first opportunity to win the Kentucky Derby. Here's Lafitte with the now winning jockey, Flavien Prat.
All right, Mike. Flavien, can you describe the emotion when the decision came down and you'd won the Kentucky Derby with Country House?
No word can describe that. I don't know, it's amazing.
Are you surprised?
Well, I mean, like I said, I really kind of lost my momentum around the turn, and so I thought after that I was going to win, but it kind of cost me actually. So.
Does it feel any different? I know you've never won a Derby, but winning this race, winning but through a disqualification as opposed to winning outright, does it feel any different?
Well, it's probably feel different, but like you said before, I never won the Derby before, so.
You have now.
Yeah.
You have now, Flavien. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Flavien Prat, Mike, his first Derby victory.
Lafitte, there's never been anything like it in this sport. The second longest shot in the history of the Kentucky Derby. 10 years after Mind That Bird at 50 to 1, came along the rail. This time a horse moving off from the rail gets in the path. There is an objection, there's an inquiry, and the result is changed. As Maximum Security crosses the line first, but does not win the Kentucky Derby. Instead, Country House, a horse that had only won once in 6 starts, wins. So this is the moment that everybody will talk about forever in this Derby. As Maximum Security moves off that rail, comes out, impedes the path of War of Will, gets in the way of Long Range Toddy and Country House, and then they make the sweeping turn, come down the stretch. Maximum Security crosses first, holds off Country House to look like he would win the Kentucky Derby by a length and a half, but not so fast. The joy and celebration changes after it's posted official on the board in a stunner. Country House, 65 to 1, wins the Kentucky Derby. The second longest shot in the history of the Kentucky Derby wins. Donerail in 1913 was the longest shot. When Donerail won, the horse paid $184.90 to win. Country House, after the objection and the disqualification of Maximum Security, will get the garland of roses, will get all the glory, all the fame, and the conversation has just begun. By the way, tuning in for the hockey, Game 5 from Boston is starting on NBCSN in 9 minutes at 7:30 Eastern. We'll get you right to the game here on NBC as soon as we finish our business here. So Game 5's over on NBCSN. Country House pays $132.40 to win, has a 65 to 1 shot, the second highest win payout in the 145 years of the Derby. Code of Honor second, Tacitus third. As you would know, given the odds, massive exacta try. If you're the superfecta, let's talk. Time now for our Bounty Race replay. We've seen a lot of the replays, but guys, let's pick it up one more time.
Well, as we talked about, Maximum Security had the lead from the outset. He continued to lead as he made the way for home. You can see right here, he moves out past the little puddle of water there, from inside it to outside it, and was not clear of number 1, War of Will, who in turn impeded Long Range Toddy.
Country House on the far outside, despite what his rider Flavien Prat said, was not bothered in that incident. He was the beneficiary of what happened. with Maximum Security nearly dropping War of Will. So it just depends on, I mean, your outlook on this just depends on where you stand about disqualifications.
As I said, if you go by the letter and the letter of the law and the rules, yes, he impeded 2 horses. Was he the best horse in the race, Maximum Security?
Yes.
Yes, he was.
And in the end, you'll always look back and see Maximum Security cross the finish line first. We just watched the horse walk back to the barn by himself. And Jerry, what'd you say about the horse?
He doesn't know he lost.
Yeah, he doesn't. And Country House didn't know he won.
How about Bill Mott? We've been talking all week about Tacitus giving Bill Mott perhaps his first Kentucky Derby win. The other horse.
Country House gets it for him. And that was our Bounty Race replay. We'll go to the winner's circle. We'll show you the complete order of finish. Maximum Security finishing all the way at the bottom of that as we continue at this Derby, won by Country House in a stunner. Country House at 65-1. Maximum Security crosses the line first, but disqualified and moved to the bottom. You go through and look for the Baffert horses there, as you see. Improbable 5th, Game Winner 6th. Roadster ends up finishing 16th. Some of the stories we told today, including Cutting Humor, finishing 11th, ridden by Mike Smith, who got that mount just yesterday. Great Magician finished last, but Maximum Security will be moved down there. To the winner's circle for the presentation, and here's Rebecca Lowe.
Mike, thank you very much indeed. What a story. In amongst many here in the winner's circle, we have Bill Mudd, the president of Churchill Downs, Bill Carstanjen, the CEO of Churchill Downs, and the governor of Kentucky, Matt Bevan, to make the presentation to the winning owners of Country House. Matt?
It is an honor to be here for all of you who are visiting Kentucky. We thank you for being here. This was an exciting finish, to say the least. The home of fast cars, fast horses, and the most hospitable people on the earth, the Center of Engineering and Manufacturing, Kentucky. It gives me great privilege to say congratulations to Flavien Prat, to trainer Bill Mott, and to give the 145th Kentucky Derby Trophy to Mrs. Jerry Shields. Congratulations.
Guinness McFadden, you are Jerry Shields and Maury Shields' nephew. The tears I can see. First of all, let me just take you back to the wait for that decision. What was going through your mind?
Just hanging out, waiting. Had no idea what was going to happen. You know, just hoping. You don't want to win like that. I feel terrible for Maximum Security, but, you know, I guess it was good for us.
Guinness, we know your uncle, Maury's husband, Jerry, passed away last October. How much is this a moment for him?
It's a pretty big deal. Can't really put into words what it means to us. He was special.
And a word for your auntie here.
She's the best.
Huge congratulations to all the family. Brittany?
Rebecca, thank you very much. Bill, you have been very patient in waiting for this Kentucky Derby victory. With all of the accolades in your career, it is finally yours. You had to wait quite some time for that decision. How does it feel, Kentucky Derby winner?
Well, it feels pretty darn good. It was an odd way to do it, and we hate to back into any of these things. It's a bittersweet victory, but I've got to say our horse ran very well. Our jockey rode very well, and I'm thrilled to death for all the connections. And I think they're very deserving, and you know, we'll just have to prove ourselves in the future.
You did today. A big congratulations, Bill. And Flavien Prat, with its very first Kentucky Derby win, you just said to me, wow, I just won the Kentucky Derby. I know you were one to keep your emotions close to the vest, but try to put into words what this means to you.
Well, I'm kind of speechless right now. I mean, it's a weird feeling, but it's a good one.
It's a real feeling, but it's a good one. We'll take that. A big congratulations to all of the connections of Country House. Undoubtedly a moment they will never forget, Mike.
No doubt, Brittany. What a ride it's been for Flavien Prat. He was aboard the expected Derby favorite, Omaha Beach, for the Colts' first 5 starts. He had to make a choice, got off Omaha Beach. That favorite was scratched. Mike Smith was going to be on him. Now Prat gets a ride on Country House. 65-1 shot, finishes second, but when the objection came up and the 7 was taken down, Pratt's a Derby winner, and so are all these folks. After that lengthy wait to find out which horse was going to be named the winner, Flavien Prat and Country House win the Derby. Hockey is coming. A final thought from Churchill Downs in a minute. All right, get you to Boston in a minute. 2 minutes in, scoreless. Blue Jackets of Bruins Game 5. Jerry Bailey, Randy Mush, you've been around the game a long time. Your thought on what we saw here today?
Well, we both said we didn't think the horse should be disqualified, but then the more you see the videos and you saw how close it was for Disaster of War of Will going down, you can't really complain about the decision.
He bothered the other horse. He impeded another horse that cost him a placing, but he was the best horse in the race.
Unprecedented. Remember, Adam Sandler, a terrific Saturday Night Live is ahead after your local news, and the Blue Jackets and the Bruins. We'll see you in a couple of weeks at the Preakness for our entire team. Mike Tirico, so long from Churchill Downs. Doc Emmerich will be with you. Boston, Columbus, Game 5 coming up right after this here on NBC.